Hey everybody!
Hi!
Welcome back to Tizzy and Friends Bible Stories. Yeah! Okay, well last week we learned about Noah and the ark, right? You can see it up behind me. We have, do you remember what the first picture was?
Oh,
Go ahead, Tizzy.
creation.
Creation, and then what was next? The second one.
Sin.
Sin, right, or the fall, right? Can you guys all say the fall?
The fall.
Very good. So creation.
Creation.
Yep, say creation. Creation.
Creation.
Okay, the fall.
The fall.
And then who was next?
Noah.
Noah. Very good. Now Noah had 3 sons. Do either of you guys remember the 3 sons? What were their names? Oh, you remember, Doug? Go on ahead.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Very good. Let's say it. Ready? Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Well, today we are going to talk about, let's see, now I have to get the number right, the great grandson of Shem. That's a lot of greats, right? Okay, are you ready? So we're still in the book of Genesis. What's Genesis mean? Just say it.
Beginning.
Beginning. Very good. Beginning. So we are in the first book of the Bible, in the book of Genesis. Still in the beginning, but this is chapter 12. Now the man we're going to learn about, his name, the great grandson, his name was Abram. Okay? And Abram lived in the land of Mesopotamia. Let me show you a map of Mesopotamia. Okay, here's our map. Here's the land of Ur, where Abraham came from. You can see the little line that follows Abraham. There's Abraham. Of course, he would have had many servants with him on his journeys. Here's the Mediterranean Sea and the land of Israel. We will begin in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you." This could be kind of different, huh? Having to leave your house and the land you know for a country that you don't even know where you're going yet. Let's see what it'll do. Actually, God still has more to say. He says, "And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." So what do you think? Do you think Abram's going to go? Would you go?
Yeah.
You'd go if God promised you that? Yeah? Probably?
Debatable. Probably.
Debatable? Yeah, it'd be kind of scary. Well, in verse 4 we learn Abram went as the Lord had told him, and his nephew Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. And Abram took his wife Sarai with him, and Lot, his nephew, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people that they had acquired in Haran, and they set out to go to the land of Canaan. Now when they came to the land of Canaan, Abram passed through the land to the place at Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. At that time, the Canaanites were in the land. Then the Lord appeared to Abram again and said, "To your offspring, that's all your children, I will give this land where you are." So Abram built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. Now, Abram's story in the Bible is actually really long. There's lots of chapters. And he even travels to Egypt. He is in a battle with lots of different kings. he meets this really special, mysterious man whose name is Melchizedek. He's a king and a priest. Later, we learn that Jesus will come like Melchizedek. So Abram's life is full of lots of stories, but we're going to kind of follow this story about Abram being in the land of Canaan and his wife Sarai. And let's see what happens to them there. So we're going to skip on over to chapter 15, beginning at verse 1. Now, after these things, that's after those big battles I just said, after those things, the word of the Lord came to Abraham again, but this time in a vision. And God said, "Fear not, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward shall be very great." But Abram said, "O Lord God, what will you give me? I continue childless." Remember, years have passed now, and he's still waiting for a child. Because remember, it said that he would be a father of nations. Okay. He said, "The heir of my house is a man named Eliezer of Damascus." That's a servant. And Abram said, "Behold, you have given me no children, and a servant of my household will be my heir." And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. "This man, your servant, will not be your heir. Your very own son will be your heir." And he brought Abram outside and said, "Look toward the heavens." What do you see? What do you think you would see if you were outside at night?
Stars.
Stars, yep. Would you see anything else?
The moon.
The moon would be pretty dark, right? Yeah, so he says, "Look up toward the heaven and number the stars." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 blah. Can you imagine trying to number the stars?
That would take forever.
It would take forever. What is it, Doug?
There are actually 100,000 million stars in the Milky Way galaxy.
What? How did you know that?
It's just something lions need to know.
It's something lions need to know. 100, what did you say? 100.
1,000 million
Oh
stars.
my dear, that is a lot of stars. Okay, so he says, God tells him to number the stars, and if you are able to number them, right? Then God said to him, "So shall your children," or your offspring, "be."
Wait, he said there were 100,000 million stars.
Mm-hmm.
How's his wife going to bear that many children?
That would be a problem, wouldn't it? Yeah, so this is a little bit confusing if you're reading it, isn't it? So what we're going to learn, I want you to keep thinking about that a little bit, but what we're going to learn is that he's not just talking about the children that Sarah would have, but the children Sarah would have, and the children that Sarah's children will have, and the children that those children will have. We're talking about many, many, many generations of children.
Oh.
Yes. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's keep going. So I have one more verse I want to read in this chapter, and it's a very important verse. And actually, when I read it, I would like you guys to see if you can repeat it after me. Can you do that on the other side of the screen too? Okay. So let's see what Abram does. Remember before, when God asked Abram to go, it said that Abram went. He obeyed God. Well, now we're going to see that not only did he obey God, but let's hear what he said, what he does. And Abram believed the Lord, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Faith, belief in God, and it was counted to him as righteousness. He became right. He had a right relationship now between he and God because he believed. This is how God wanted it to be all along. Okay, so let's see if we can say this verse. I'm going to say it again, and then you guys try to say it after me. And Abram believed the Lord, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Let's try it again. Ready? And Abram believed the Lord, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Very good. It may take one more time. Do you think you could do it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay. And Abram believed the Lord, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Very good. That was from Genesis chapter 15, verse 6. That's a great, really, really great verse for us to memorize. Okay. So, remember I said Abram's story is really long, so we're going to have to skip a few chapters. So let's see. We're going to learn a little bit more about these promises that God is going to make to Abram, okay? So let's read in chapter 17, starting at verse 1, what happens here. So now Abram is 99 years old when this happens. Remember when we started? Anybody know how old he was when we started?
75.
Oh yes, you are my numbers person. Okay, so several years have passed. We'll probably talk about that again in a minute. So Abram was 99 years old when the Lord appeared to him and said to him, I am God Almighty. Walk before me and be blameless, that I may make my covenant between me and you, and may multiply you greatly. Now I used a really big word in there, covenant. Do you guys remember what covenant might mean?
No.
A very solemn promise.
Very good. You remember that from Noah, right? Didn't God make a covenant with Noah too? Right? That whenever you see the rainbow, he would never again, what? Tizzy, do you remember?
Flood the earth?
Yes, flood the earth. Very good. Okay, so here's a different covenant that he's making with Abram. Okay. So, Abram fell on his face. Can you guys fall on your face? Ah! They fell on their face. Ooh. Okay, anyways. Abram fell on his face, and God said to him, Behold, my covenant is with you, Abraham, and you will be the father of a multitude of nations. Whoa. No longer, however, shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham. For I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. I will make you exceedingly fruitful. What's so funny?
Oh, I'm just picturing Abraham covered in fruit.
Oh. Ha ha ha.
Is that what you were picturing?
No.
No. He understood. What does this mean that he would be fruitful, not covered in fruit, like Tizzy was thinking? What does this mean?
Well, he would have very, all of his stuff would go well and produce more.
Okay. It means that he would have lots of children. Okay? Would have lots of children. Okay. Let's see if I can find my spot again, since you guys distracted me with all your laughing.
You are very
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you. I will make you exceedingly fruitful. Giggle, giggle. Okay. And I will make you into nations, and kings will come from you. Whoa. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your offspring after you throughout their generations. Now that's important because we're going to hear about more of this covenant in the next video too, when we talk about the next person. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. Okay. It will be an everlasting covenant forever and ever, even now. It'll be an everlasting covenant to be God to you and to your offspring after you. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land that you're on, the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. This is a good promise, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to skip a few more chapters and see what finally happens because we're still waiting. Do you guys like to wait?
No.
No.
I hate waiting.
You hate waiting?
Especially for Christmas.
Yes. Christmas or your birthday, or even now in our story, we're trying to wait for this son to finally come. Do you think he's going to come?
Yes.
You do? Okay, let's see what happens. Chapter 21. The Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did to Sarah as he had promised, and Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son. Yay!
Yeah!
In his old age,
Wow.
at the time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, the son whom Sarah bore him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born, and Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh over me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a child? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. Woohoo!
Yay!
Did you know that Isaac actually means laughter? Can you laugh? Let's hear a big belly laugh.
Oh.
Right! It means laughter. God brought laughter to their life.
So this would be 25 years after he left.
That's right. Were you
So-
doing the calculations in your mind?
Yeah. So imagine 25 years of waiting for Christmas.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
That would be a long time, right? And this was even better than Christmas. This was a baby, and a baby of the promise. Okay, that is the end of our story today, but should we open our envelope?
Yeah.
Okay, whose turn is it to open the
Mine.
Your turn, okay. Let's open it up. We need envelope number 4. Reach on in there, Tizzy. All right. Oh, wow. What do you think when you look at that picture, guys? What do you think, Tizzy?
I see stars.
I see stars too. What do you see, Doug?
I see his promise to make his children flourish.
Yes, very good. He was going to be a father to many as the stars in the heavens. All right, well, that's our story for today. Can you add this to your timeline? All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.